You've been excited to tell that joke.
Super excited. That's all I have.
It's pretty good.
No more puns for the night.
There'll be puns. There's been puns.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to discuss this further, and I know you did too, John. But I'm really wanting to discuss female perspective and porn further. Only because I feel like it's not really represented out there. And all the reading and researching that I've been doing, there's just not substantial, research being done about the female perspective.
It is represented. It's just of the minority, and it's not super popular.
Yeah. And when you think of porn, you think women as like the actor and men more as like the consumer. And I don't think that's necessarily accurate anymore. This, honestly, doing this research and doing these podcasts about porn has been very like triggering to me personally. And it's been hard.
Yeah.
It's been kind of hard, honestly.
Yeah. And
I was doing some reflecting on it and trying to decide why that is, because I like porn and I love sex, and those seem like two things that would go together very nicely. And
two peas in a pod.
Yeah.
Inside joke.
And and so I just feel like maybe it's been triggering because it's been like such a source of like lying in the past for me personally, and for like tons of other women that I've talked to.
Yeah.
It's like this hidden thing or something.
Yeah.
But what we're discovering and what I'm learning is like, besides knowing that myself, like I like porn, that like a lot of women do too.
Yeah.
So like, let's start this conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's like just make it less socially unacceptable for women to watch porn. Because according to like Psychology Today, for example, they stated that a lot of women in these studies that they've done recently feel like it's inappropriate for them to watch porn and enjoy it.
Yeah.
They have this internal conflict going on. And I can speak from personal experience, like feeling this way, feeling like, am I supposed to be getting turned on right now? Is this okay? Is this exploitation? Is there something wrong here? It's like this weird conflict.
Do you feel like that when you watch a TV show that has sex in it?
No.
Because you've watched some shows before, a lot where
like Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, and then there's been a couple things. There was some ecstasy show or something, and there was sex in it. It's like it was mini porn inside of a movie or
Wait,
inside
what's
of a TV
this
show.
ecstasy show that you
The
speak
show
of?
that made you feel bad. It reminded you of your youth.
Oh, the HBO show? Euphoria or
Yeah.
something? Yeah, that was like, oh yeah, there are definitely scenes in that make me very uncomfortable because like there's a girl like being forced. And,
yeah, well that's fucked up. But Game of Thrones, there's like, there's definitely moments of just straight softcore porn in that.
Yeah,
but
that's different though than watching like a porn where, and I can talk about things that I've read.
Yeah.
That like these studies have shown and why women feel conflict or how they feel when they watch porn.
I was just arguing for the sake of perspective. Because it's silly that I don't disagree that people feel silly or feel shame involved with it. I do think it's silly that they do, and it's unfortunate that they do. They're not silly, but it sucks that they would feel bad or feel shame because
maybe there are reasons why. I think for women in particular, like they might feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
First of all, we haven't been accurately represented in pornography. If only 18% of us are coming in these porns, well, that fucking sucks.
Yeah.
You know, 1. 2, a lot of it's like male driven, like point of view stuff, and it like that doesn't do anything for women when you're watching it.
Yeah.
That's like the majority of what you find out there.
Yeah.
So like if we can discuss how actually we do like it and we're more part of the conversation, first of all, it's more socially acceptable. We're discussing it more. Maybe then it doesn't feel like people, and maybe men don't feel the need to hide it. Yeah. If men and women are enjoying it like openly, you know, I don't know. there were studies that discussed, so there's a new study that the Journal of Sex Research conducted. This is 2018, and this was 21 studies across 9 countries. So regarding porn and women consuming it. Women focus more on kind of genuine pleasure, like facial expressions and the reality of the sex act than men do, according to this study. So I think this is true as well. Like, if it looks real, then I'm going to enjoy watching it more than if it just looks like she's having no fun at all.
Yeah.
And in fact, she could be in pain. Like, that is not a turn on to me. It's actually the opposite. Okay. So that's kind of not a surprise. Like, women focus on like facial expressions and whether or not it seems genuine.
Yeah.
And that's linked to their arousal when watching porn.
Yeah.
Okay. Also,
guys are used to being like, I have no idea if she's actually enjoying this or not.
I don't know if that's how you feel, but I'm sure that a lot of men have felt that way at one point in their lives.
And you know when a guy's coming because, right?
Yeah. I thank you. Yeah, totally. What do you think?
I agree. I mean, I agree with you. I think often I hope that person isn't in pain. I hope that person's enjoying it.
But you don't pick up on cues necessarily. You're just hoping that they're enjoying it. Wait, are we talking observing porn or like in actual sex?
No, observing porn.
Okay.
But you and I, every time we've watched porn and it's made in a, I was gonna say a lab. When it's studio porn,
yeah.
Neither one of us like that. And then even when we watch other couples, like where it's just a couple having sex and it's like them filming themselves, neither one of you or I like when it's something that's like very commercialized.
Yeah.
Because it's funny because the people we've watched where it's like very straight hair and makeup and they're women that are seemingly in a real relationship but they're mimicking or mirroring commercial porn. Mm-hmm. It's not fun for us. It's like the same values transfer over. But when it's a real couple and you can like I feel like I'm fairly empathetic. Empathetic. Mm-hmm. I can pick up on that, and that's probably why you love me to the degree that you do. But that's what you and I resonate with, and that's what I resonate with too. Like studio porn's weird, and there is like you're talking about how there's a lot of faking, and of course there is. That's just how the industry's been forever. I don't think it's right.
Yeah, so we're talking about it, so maybe it'll change. It's not going away.
There's a lot of documentaries about it. Have you ever seen Hot Girls Wanted?
No.
Hot Girls Wanted. It's sad, but it's very eye-opening. It's about the turnover rate in pornography, and girls are like 18 have like a shelf life like tops like 6 months.
Can we not say shelf life?
That's
Jesus Christ.
Well,
that's like objectification, like right there in and of itself. Like you literally just used a term.
I guess you could say a comedian has a shelf.
Objectify a woman.
Yeah, male actors have shelf lives too.
Well, okay.
It's just a term that you use in the film industry or the entertainment industry. Like a comedian has a shelf life.
Let's just be mindful
specials.
of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying, though, right?
So a girl doing porn only does it for 6 months, and then she's done doing it.
They'll often do it longer than 3 to 6 months, but that's like peak prime. You get the best treatment, and you get high dollar.
So what about it, though?
Well, you can either leave, or if you stay in it, then you have to you're subjected to porns where it's violent and it's painful and it's.
So why? Yeah. So what? I guess. What about that, though?
What do you mean? What about that? It's a problem in the industry.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of literature about it. Hot Girls Wanted, it may still be on Netflix. It has been for a long time.
Yeah. I've never seen it. I
haven't watched it in a long time.
Yeah. So, I don't know, but yeah, I think there are probably a lot of problems with the porn industry, and so maybe men have issue and I would imagine take issue with these things too. I know that personally, and then reading about these studies, that's one of the problems that women have with pornography.
Yeah.
if there's any sort of exploitation or like some sort of a vibe at all where she's being used or doesn't want to do it or something. I mean, of course that's horrible.
Yeah.
But just the fear or the thought of that having existed in the world is like gives women, according to the study, like, you know, particular conflict with watching it. Well, this is arousing me, but like, am I allowed to be aroused by it? Because I feel strange about whether or not it's morally acceptable. And I don't know that men necessarily have that moral
I just
dilemma.
Demonstrated that I do.
Yeah.
So some men do.
So that's what that was your point of bringing up that documentary.
I'm aware of how fucked up the industry is from learning about it because, like I've said before, I think I've said it, we've talked about it on the podcast, I can't do anything passively. You know that about me. I don't know if anyone that's listening knows that, but like nothing I do is passive. Like if I start to learn about something, I'm like all in. So I've learned a lot about it and about the industry. I know it's fucked up, but I don't know if that's the only reason that I'm able to watch. If we're like watching porn or if I've watched porn in the past, if it seems fucking weird, and weird in like a way where it's not enjoyable for both people, it turns me off. And something feels wrong about it. And I don't know, I wasn't paying attention to what was popular before, but when you and I have like gone through and scrolled on the page on Pornhub, it is very rarely studio porn. So I'm just wondering what percentage of guys can't pick up on that now. You know, is it a large percentage of dudes being fuckheads watching like weird, like someone's in a basement or someone's getting paid very little money?
I know that stuff is out there.
No, it for sure is out there.
I mean, this is a whole another discussion, just like legalizing prostitution and why I believe that would be helpful.
Yeah.
I mean, get rid of the underground shit.
Yeah.
Like we can talk about this. Sex is not weird.
No.
And I think there's a lot of shame, and that shame leads to like lying and then hiding and levels upon levels and layers upon layers of just like pushed down.
Yeah. You know what?
Stuff.
Yeah. What I think is a good point, and this is kind of what you're saying, but the underground stuff is there, and you can still easily access it on mainstream porn. What you can't is bestiality and child porn. You can't, because that's fucked up and it's wrong and it's illegal. I think the porn that you're describing should be put into that same box.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yes and no. You can. I mean, if you want to find something with a guy being violent to a woman, as long as she's being compensated in some way, you're allowed to put that out into the world. But porn is, I don't know.
Yeah. I just think that I would love to see women feeling more comfortable about discussing porn use and like it's okay to be turned on by it. Yeah. And then maybe we can shift it a little bit in the industry.
I think that
it doesn't need to be so male driven, right? It can be more about female perspective, what turns women on as well as men, you know, because sex is meant to be enjoyed together. It is by nature 2 people or 3 people or 4 people, but like I think the general rule is pleasure.
Or 7 people.
Right. I think the general rule though is pleasure, like men, women, men, women, men, women, men, like whatever configuration you come up with. I think like the general rule is like pleasure, right? Yeah. It's meant to be enjoyed. You do it together, right? So
there's still shame.
I don't know. I just don't know if it's like
was removed.
That's my point.
I've got to imagine that if you're a girl that's in porn and it's like the end of your short-lived career, shelf life, whatever I said earlier.
Let's just say career.
Right. Because your career's still going on. If the glory days of your career are done, I imagine it plays into the mentality of the person. Well, I don't want to go back to my town because my face is on the internet and I was having sex for money on a camera, a lot of shame, don't want to go back home. Well, so you stay in the industry and then you subject yourself to all this fucked up stuff because of shame. And if you remove shame, which what you're talking about doing by allowing women to talk about it openly and encouraging women to do so, I think you encourage less women to stay in the industry longer.
I think it encourages healing overall, which is ultimately what my goal is for everyone in the world. I think there's a lot of pain everywhere. So if we can openly discuss how we feel and what arouses us without being like embarrassed by it, then yeah, I think that in some way heals pain. So
Yeah.
I mean, I think I hope to see it being discussed more openly.
Yeah. Like in churches, buses.
Well, I don't know that churches necessarily. Yeah, I don't know that. Whatever. I'm not a Christian, but I do know that I don't think I would be interested to talk to a Christian about pornography.
I told you about the Christian couple.
No.
You remember the Christian? I started following a Christian couple. I won't say their names, but people that I'd met in real life.
Oh, yeah.
The videographer and his wife. His wife's a blogger. He does video. And they made a video together on her blog, Instagram, talking about how he had an addiction and he ended up subsequently cheating on his wife, and his addiction was porn.
That sounds like a fucking cop-out to me.
Yeah, me too. But he said it seemed like he was saying the root of it was because he started watching
too many
porn
hot
at an
novel
age.
babes, and then he couldn't like adjust his reality to the fact that he had one babe. He wanted some more hot novel babes.
Yeah.
Porn just made him think he could have it, so he went out and got it.
So he got one person at his church for 3 to 5 months or however long he said.
Fucking stupid ass excuse
To me,
for
too, that's
cheating on
like
your wife.
someone that when they say they're an alcoholic, and I'm like, oh really? Like, yeah, I had 3 beers on Saturday. Every Saturday, I'm like, are you really an alcoholic? When someone says they're a sex addict, I think the same thing.
Yeah,
I'm
sex
like,
addiction, whatever. But there's no
whole
such thing as
fucking-
porn addiction. We already established that on this podcast. So.
But I feel like porn was used as a scapegoat there, and it's fucking used as an easy scapegoat because of the shame involved with it.
Well, shame not about sex, but shame about lying and cheating on your wife.
No. He lied and cheated on his wife, but porn was this like low-hanging fruit, so it was like an easy target to blame. But if we lived in a world where everyone's like, yeah, we watch porn and it's fine, just don't beat off too much and don't lie to your partner about it. If that's the world we lived in, and some dude cheated on his wife, he couldn't blame it on porn. If that's how everyone lived, openly and honestly. But people don't live like that, so
yeah,
we have these conversations.
Do you think that there's some way that porn and his porn use like led him to cheating on his wife? Do you think there's any legitimacy to his claim?
Like porn's like a gateway drug?
Yeah, like a gateway drug.
Maybe. Yeah, why not?
Really? So you think there is some legitimacy to what he's claiming?
Can watching porn at an early age fuck you up? If you're constantly seeking a different high, if you're constantly searching for a different woman to ejaculate to, and you're constantly going there, even if you don't want to, he had said so he took over her blog, and it was a 4.
That sounds about right.
Well, I think she had to make him do it. But there was like 4 parts, and 2 were written from him, and 2 were written from her. One of the parts he was talking about his porn usage, and he admitted to a girl that he was a porn addict in college, and she broke up with him, yada yada. He was watching porn so much, one time he was like lying there and he said out loud in bed, "Oh no, again, do I have to?" And then he did it, which to me is funny and sad at the same time.
Oh no, again.
He was like
watching
phone or laptop, he was like, "Do I have to?"
Yeah.
And he said he was like talking, they're very Christian, he's like talking to God, like, "God, do I have to?" And God is like, "Yes, you're an addict." Until you admit it, you gotta do it. To that level, does that play into him cheating on his wife? Yeah, but that guy's got a bunch of problems besides porn, I think. I'm not a doctor. We're not therapists.
No, we're not.
Does eliminating porn and demonstrating some level of self-control, would that help him? Yes. I think
give him confidence in other areas of self-control.
Yeah.
Like if you can exert some level of self-control over something smaller, that maybe it gives you the strength to realize that you can exert self-control in other areas.
For sure, yeah. We talk about the tiny baby steps all the time.
Yeah.
And not setting goals that are too big.
Yeah. Too bad for that couple. That's sad to hear.
Or they're working through it. They have a kid. They seem like they're happy.
Is there working through that?
I think for some people, right? There's working through anything.
I mean, if you ever cheated on me, you wouldn't even be around to work on it, I guess.
Yeah.
So there would be no working through it.
Yeah, for sure.
I would work through it, but you certainly would not.
If I cheated on you, and I never would, but putting myself in that guy's shoes, I don't think it's fair to do to your partner. You and I have worked so hard on fucking trust. Not fucking trust like sex trust, but like just trust.
Mm-hmm.
We've worked so hard on it that if I violated our trust to the umpteenth degree, like the ultimate betrayal, I don't think it'd be fair to make you live through hell. Because when you lie, and this guy said this, and I thought it was very on point, and there's a lot of things I like about this couple. This is one of them. He said when you lie and you have like a secret that's something that you think is shameful and you know it hurt people, you live in a personal hell.
Yeah, absolutely.
But then he externalized it, and he should have, I think. But now his wife, instead of being able to heal, is living through that hell.
With him. Yeah, he dragged her down into it.
And she thinks she needs to do it, but she doesn't need to.
Well, it doesn't matter. That's for her to decide.
Right.
That's neither here nor there.
She can decide whether she wants to be with him or not. But to say, I need to, and it's not, no, you don't. He's not heir. You don't need him.
Yeah. I don't, see, that's hard. Getting into then how other people feel is, I think that's a slippery slope.
Yeah.
That's
I'm not
tricky.
trying to say how they feel.
Yeah, or what she, she feels like she should. She feels like she needs to.
Him, yeah.
And that's for her to decide.
Right, for sure.
I think she probably understands on some level that she can live without him. I'm sure she understands
Maybe,
that.
we don't know. She said, but what she said
Yeah.
in her blog was, I need to do this. I need to be there for my husband. So you don't need to.
Yeah.
I do think the words you said should, I think that changes the dynamic of that whole, like, the ideology. Should and need, two different things. And it is important because you do mantras, you do meditations, you do prayers, whatever. Those words are important because
I agree. I think language is very important. Yeah.
So she doesn't need to. But anyway, yeah, we're getting a little off track, I guess, but I would, to put myself in that guy's shoes, like, you have to, like, I would let you go. Like, there's no way I'd want you to live in hell because I fucked up.
Well, I mean, if I knew or found out you had a porn addiction, I, quote unquote, even though there's really no such thing according to science, I guess, at this point, it's not necessarily categorized as, psychology is considered science in 2019.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe there's something you know that I don't know. But anyway, if I found out you were watching porn and had a problem with it and you were lying about it, I would be very concerned that the next step would be you cheating on me.
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, clearly, because let's be real, we're 35 years old. Mm-hmm. Like, sex is still very important.
Yeah.
To a lot of people our age, right? It's very important to us. So if I found out you were not necessarily completely sexually satisfied, like, within our relationship, even if it was just digitally you were, like, stepping outside of our relationship, I would be very concerned that the next step would be you, like, stepping outside of our relationship to seek satisfaction because you weren't fulfilled.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't think sex is we have friends that are around our age. I don't think sex is as important to them as it is to you and I.
I mean, women peak around this age.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of my friends that I associate with, sex is very important to them.
Right. But we hear a lot of people complaining about sex. I hear people around my age talking about, don't have sex.
Don't have sex?
Yes, it's a thing.
Like, don't.
People in relationships
that don't have sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been in relationships like that.
Right. I think a majority of people, it's important, but it does not it's a desire. It's an important desire, but it doesn't play an active role in their life.
Right. But important desire, meaning it's still important to them.
Yeah.
So they're getting it somewhere. They're seeking it somewhere somehow.
Yeah.
Whether it's porn or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I hate to say, I'm not trying to, like, trigger any, I'm just, like, sex plays a pretty significant role in our lives as human beings. It's
Yeah.
how we've survived as
Yeah.
a species. I mean, it's... So to deny that, I mean, I'm not saying everyone. I'm just
You're not
saying
saying everyone what?
that it's plays a very important role in everyone's life. You know,
Yeah.
it's how we
If you're
have survived.
If you're a married couple and you're 35, and that'd be an interesting statistic to look at. But if you're a married couple, you're 35, 40, whatever, and you're not having sex, but the people are masturbating or consuming more porn, it'd be interesting to look at data from now versus the 50s, if that even exists. If people were more sexually active in the 50s and their mid-30s, right?
like with each other.
Yeah.
No,
Because
not with themselves.
if Ted's at the office all day, he's going to Pornhub twice a day, and he comes home.
Ted in 2019.
Yeah, and Ted in 2019, he's like, I'm good.
And then, but Ted in 1954
1954
was coming home from the office horny because he
ready
had
to
no
go,
outlet.
Because he had no outlet. He didn't have a constant.
I don't know, but that's why I don't want you watching porn without me.
For sure. That's why I don't fucking.
Because if
do
you're
that.
not gonna,
That's
if you're
why-
not gonna deem me, then someone's going. I'm just kidding.
It's true, but I mean, it's why I don't masturbate. Jesus Christ, because you're crazy in the best way. You're like, give it to me. I'm like, I have to go. So it's like it's like I'm always training for the big fight. It's like I have to be like in shape, like constantly.
That's right.
It's good. I like it. You're the best.
Yeah. Thanks.
You really are.
Thanks.
Absolutely fantastic and wonderful.
Are you just kissing my ass for the podcast right now?
No.
Is this a podcast ass kissing?
No, it's true.
Yeah. I think that I would love to see women talking about it more openly. Just sex in
I would
general. Yeah. It's like a conflict.
Ladies,
It's
if you
like
need
this-
someone to talk to about porn, you can email us.
This is the classic like joke. It's like, oh
Tell
my
us
god,
about
whatever.
it.
It's like it's fucking okay, cool.
In all seriousness, though, I am so bad about writing things down and delivering accurate knowledge. So I left the paper over there, but the email, I always just kind of fumble through it.
Our podcast email, John.
The email for I'm getting there for our podcast is trustmethepodcast@gmail.com.
Okay, good. I'm glad we figured that one out.
Or do what you've been doing and text
Which
us.
is just
Or talk to us
just
in
whisper
person.
it into the wind and the universe will deliver your message. Good night. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you guys and talk to you guys soon.
We're done.